our passion and it needs you to fill it. To the seniors, this is our final semester to leave a lasting legacy, and it's your responsibility to keep the Nudgee spirit alive. Nudgee needs you one last time, and it needs it now. So, well done on the way we have started the year. Continue to make the most of the opportunities Nudgee has on offer, and I look forward to seeing how all of you give back to the community in this semester. Have a great third term. Thank you.
Leadership for a Year 12 cohort at Nudgee begins well before positions are announced and badges are presented. At the end of Term 3 last year, our current seniors underwent a rigorous process for the election of prefects and captains. Here at Nudgee, we are blessed with opportunity. That is something I know Mr. Todd tells us frequently, an opportunity to contribute, to serve others, and to be part of something bigger than ourselves. When the incoming school captains and prefects are announced towards the end of Year 11, there are often young men who aren't successful in their applications. However, in front of them is the opportunity to lead and serve our community nevertheless. And when this is done to an exceptional standard, they are awarded with a mid-year prefect position. Examples of their service might include, but are not limited to, modelling the way in the classroom and playground, being a presence to support Nudgee at GPS events, making social justice leadership a focus, showing leadership in the boarding school and being an outstanding big brother in the junior school, demonstrating liturgical and faith life leadership and participating extensively in activities around the college. Importantly, they have also shown resilience following an initial disappointment and perseverance in their own personal journey of leadership. Mr. Johnston and the Nudgee College community, I present to you today those Year 12 students whose leadership we recognise as today they are appointed Nudgee College prefects. Jamison, James Knight, Jacob O'Mealy, Cooper Percy, Samuel Rogers, Zachary Smullen, and Ben Wyatt. I invite Father John to bless these badges our prefects will wear today as a sign of their service to our community.
The Lord be with you. God of all graces, bless these badges, which are to be worn as a sign of service. Grant to those who wear them the strength and wisdom to accept the challenges and responsibilities of Christian leadership. May they accept your call to lead our community, faithful to the promise of the gospel, and in the spirit of Edmund Rice, to be a sign of faith in all they say and do. And we ask this through Christ our Lord.
I invite our new prefects to recite the Seniors' Pledge. As prefects of St. Joseph's Nudgee College, we accept our call from God to lead the community in 2021. We pledge to carry out our responsibilities as senior leaders to the best of our abilities and talents. We pledge loyalty to the Catholic traditions of St. Joseph's Nudgee College and will offer support to each and every student. We pledge a commitment to leadership in accord with the Charter for Schools in the Edmund Rice tradition. With God's grace, we will strive to give to others, enabling us to become a sign of faith to those whom we meet.
Mr. Johnston and Leo will now present the badges to the new prefects. I invite the parents of our prefects who are here today to join your son once he has his badge and help him pin this to his blazer. Once again, I'd like to invite the parents of our prefects to come forward. And they are welcome to pin the badge on their son's blazer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating our newest college prefects for 2021. Gentlemen, you can take a seat now. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Year 11 and 12 here in the hall, everyone watching online, good morning. My welcome also to Semester 2. It's going to be a great few months. My job today is to thank each and every one of you for the amazing effort you put in during the Walk for Edmund last term. In the weeks leading up with the fundraising and the leadership shown by House Deans and House Prefects in encouraging you all in the fundraising. And then on the day itself, it was a great way to finish the term, a beautiful day, a lot of fun going for the walk, and then a great opportunity to sit in great numbers in the grandstand and support the first 11 and witness their victory against Ipswich Grammar. Thank you also to the House Deans and to all the Year 12s who were here on the day and set the tone, both for the walk and for our presence in the grandstand. I particularly want to thank Mrs. Kennedy and the rest of the Identity Department for their organisation of the Walk for Edmund. A lot of work goes into organising that over many weeks. And also our partners at the Edmund Rice Foundation who receive all the funds. They also put a lot of work into the organisation in the background of all the fundraising process. So we raised almost $30,000, which the Edmund Rice Foundation will put towards its work in educating young men and women across the world. So that's an outstanding effort, well done to each and every one of you and your families and those of you whom you asked to contribute. And Duggan House were the house that led the way and raised the most money. So the Identity Department is going to contribute a little treat towards your house breakfast in week 3. So I think a round of applause for everyone involved in that activity.
Thank you, sir, and can I offer my absolute congratulations to our mid-year prefects as well. Ladies and gentlemen of the Nudgee community, I speak to you today in a different role, as Miss Barrett has pointed out. Welcome to today's assembly. It is with joy today that I have the role of welcoming a number of new staff to the college. And again, I invite Mr. Johnson to the stage to make these good people feel welcome. Nudgee community, today we welcome Mr. Sean Carolyn, who has started at the college this term as First 8 rowing coach and sports administrator based in the sports office. Sean comes to us from Brisbane Grammar School, where he held the position of head rowing coach and performance development coach. Prior to that, Sean worked at St Margaret's College, the Southport School and St Hilda's School, and has already been a multiple winner of the Head of the River race. We welcome Sean. Ladies and gentlemen, today we welcome back to the college Mr. Matthew Smith. Mr. Smith will be a teacher in our junior school, and Matt comes to us from Villanova, where he taught Year 7. Matthew graduated from Nudgee College in 2007, and he was an outstanding student during his time here. We welcome Matthew. Ladies and gentlemen, today we welcome Hiroko Yamaguchi. Hiroko is joining us as a teacher of Japanese. Hiroko comes to us from the Queensland Academy for Science, Maths and Technology, where she was a senior Japanese coordinator, and previous to that has worked at St Augustine's College, Shalom and MacKillop College in Swan Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome our new staff for this term. Thank you, sir. To our boarding community, you may have had introduced to you already Mrs. Esther Taylor. So Esther joins us as our new overnight boarding supervisor, and I know other members of the community will see Esther around here in that very significant role. We welcome Esther, who is not here this morning. We welcome back to the college after a period of leave Mr. Kropp and Dr. Nesbitt Foster, who have returned to the classroom after a well-earned break. Ladies and gentlemen, it's with some sadness and joy today that we also farewell Mr. Jordan Smith. Jordan is in his final week at the college. Jordan has a long association with the college, having attended Nudgee as a boarder from Longreach in Year 11 and 12, and was promptly put on after that as a boarding supervisor. Since then, in 2015, Jordan has worked for Nudgee Swimming. He has worked in the Property and Services Department. He has worked in the Activities Office, all while he was going through university, before being put on as Director of Volleyball, as many boys will have worked with Jordan with, and then as a teacher from 2019. Mr. Smith has accepted a job as the sports coordinator at Downlands College, so I know we will see Sir again. But gentlemen, can we farewell Mr. Smith, please? Ladies and gentlemen, one final item now before I head off, but something that is quite significant. Nudgee community, over the next few weeks, we will have a drill for what is now called a grey alert. What is a grey alert, you might say? That's part of today's discussion and the new landscape. What we might have called before in schools a lockdown, we have now changed that language. Of course, lockdown has become very much a term connected to our COVID pandemic and the process around that. So over this term, there will be at some stage a practice, a drill of what we are now calling a grey alert. Mr. Johnson will have, I know, in his head exactly when the last time, but I don't think we've been able to do this for a couple of years because of the COVID issue. But gentlemen, we will know we are in a grey alert time because a song will come over the PA. Now previously that has been the college song. Years ago it was the college song, but now we are singing the college song more often We have made a change on that, so there is no confusion. So, gentlemen, when we hear Waltzing Matilda over the PA, that is signalling a grey alert. And I believe Mr. Carmody is going to play that for me right now. Thanks, sir. Nudgee gentlemen and community, I know we know that really well. Boys, why would it be that we would go into a grey alert? Generally, that would be because of something pretty significant happening around aggression or violence. Perhaps someone has passed away on site. Perhaps there's just been some sort of threat around someone being grabbed. Perhaps it could be a severe storm is on its way. There's been a chemical spill. There are so many reasons for a grey alert, we won't really know why and when it could happen. I know we have come very, very close in the last couple of years when there may have been someone significantly affected by a mental health issue wandering the campus. But we have been able to diffuse those things before a grey alert. But gents, these things do happen in our schools and have happened in some of our brother Edmund Rice schools in the last few years. So grey alerts are really serious, and we will be practicing one in the next few weeks. So we know the song. Please note that during that time, if the fire alarm went off, it's not to be responded to. So what do? Inside the classroom, we close all the windows, we lock the doors, we turn off lights, we close any blinds, we get close to solid walls and we stay out of sight. We secure dangerous items. We don't respond to anything outside the classrooms. Alarms, door knocks, phone calls. Once the classroom is secure, external doors will be secure. Classroom teachers should, where possible, make sure that the doors are secure. Gentlemen, communication devices, I know while tempting, communication devices should not be used during a grey alert procedure. Mums and dads, we will let you know that we have had a drill, and of course if there was ever the case that we do have a grey alert, we have a very clear and strong communication policy about that. Gents, statistically, a grey alert actually happens more often outside of class time than when we're all in a classroom. So if it is an outside class time procedure, which can happen even in the boarding school at night, we move to the nearest building and either access a spare classroom or share a classroom. We basically get inside by heading to the nearest building. I'm going to put these slides, gentlemen, in the student notices over coming days. And I know that your PC tutors will run through those with you. And as I said, we can expect a drill in the next month. Gents, when the danger has passed and it is all clear, we will be given the signal over the PA. And you'd be expecting to hear from someone like Mr. Johnson or myself, but the person will say clearly, signum fidei, all clear, signum fidei, all clear. Gents, all of these things are about keeping us all in this community safe, and I know that when we have done these drills before, we've done them fantastically well, and I know that that will be no exception in the coming month. Thank you.
Good morning, parents, staff, Mr. Johnson, my fellow Nudgee brothers. Traditionally, our first chess team would be presented today along with rugby and basketball. However, due to an excursion and other commitments, many of the team cannot be here today. We will present the entire team next week on assembly. Over the holidays, 19 of our best musicians embarked on the regional music tour, travelling across Queensland for 7 days. We visited Dalby, Mitchell, Charleville, Kilpie, Roma and Toowoomba. Our contemporary music ensemble, stage band and rock band 1 performed at 5 Catholic primary schools and 1 state high school. We even had the opportunity to perform at a local rugby game in Charleville. The trip was a great chance for boys to return to performing live after COVID-19. We performed in front of small and large crowds, and the smallest crowd we have was at St Finbarr's Primary School in Kilpie. This school had a total of 31 students. Highlights from the tour include starting a mosh pit at Roma State High School and getting kids up on their feet dancing, no matter the time of the day. But for Matt Johns, his highlight would have to be messing up a solo and nobody noticing because they're all kids. Overall, the tour was a great experience for all. I would like to thank Mr. Hodder, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Smith, Miss Rumsey, and the Nudgee Marketing Department, and our bus driver, Mr. Filewood, for his excellent experience. Please enjoy the short video made by Grade 12 Media Arts student Jared Lockett of the tour. Thank you.
Good? Yeah, that's it. Now, just early this morning, we were out just across the road at another school. They were awesome. And I think, with the amount of people we have in here today, that we can do a bit better. Do you think so? That's good. All right, well, get up, dance, have a bit of fun, and we hope you enjoy it.
Walk my bare feet. Walk my bare big congratulations to all our music students and staff for their wonderful work on that tour. Boys, get moving. Hopefully you're not asleep on Saturday. Good morning, Mr. Johnston, special guests, parents, staff and gents. This morning our focus will be introducing our basketball and rugby seasons as well as presenting our first teams. But before we do that, I'd like to highlight some of our outstanding results in Term 2 with football and tennis. A big congratulations to both our first teams. Football, in a very tight competition, finished second, and we congratulate Gregory Terrace on their football premiership. And in tennis, we also finished second, the best result we have achieved since 2013. And we congratulate Brisbane Grammar School on winning the tennis premiership. Our football and tennis programs continue to grow, and the strength of participation and performance has been a wonderful achievement. I'd like to make a big congratulations and say well done to all our players, coaches, age coordinators, and especially Mr. Pybus and Mr. McGuinness for your leadership of those programs. As usual, Nudgee was a hype of activity in the final week of the holidays. Both our basketball and rugby pre-seasons have been extensive, and that culminated in 2 very successful all-age holiday camps. Once again, congratulations to all the players and staff for your diligent preparation for an exciting term ahead. Gents, our standards at Gregory Terrace last Saturday were solid. Our conduct, uniform on the most part, were excellent. Please remember why we play sport: to challenge ourselves and to have fun with our mates. Our language, behaviour, appearance should always reflect these 2 values. Finally, for me, a couple of important reminders to ensure that we remain COVID safe during Term 3 sport. Players, you will know that our field of play is now unrestricted. However, we are continuing to follow and encourage the following guidelines. Players, staff, spectators should always not come to school on Saturday if you are feeling unwell. Please wash your hands regularly. You must bring your own equipment, especially water bottles. And finally, encourage spectators to use the Queensland app and sign in on the QR codes that will be at each venue. Please now welcome our basketball director, Mr. Massingale, to introduce our 2021 basketball season.
Good morning, Mr. Johnson, parents, carers, staff, and Nudgee men. I would like to start off by saying how excited we are to kick off the 2021 GPS basketball season. The commitment shown by our Nudgee basketball community has been extremely pleasing thus far. With a maximum number of teams and players, we have been presented with the challenging but rewarding task of providing all of our boys the opportunity to represent the college playing the game we all love. Since the completion of last season, I have questioned the metric of success in my role as director. Although our goal as Nudgee basketball is to reach the traditional measure of success by winning more games across the program, I have come to acknowledge and appreciate the successes that have not directly resulted in wins just yet. With the assistance of our new reformed parent support group, we have been able to host multiple holiday skills camps, enter a number of teams into local club competitions, connect with the community through creating sponsor relationships, and provide the boys with Nudgee basketball equipment and merchandise, just to name a few. We also have raised funds and set plans in motion to provide resources to assist our boys and coaches to continue their skill development. I would like to commend all of the boys who have committed to our focus on increasing the development efforts, training, and gameplay by joining our Wizard School League teams and Nudgee club teams that will be reintroduced in Term 4. I would like to also acknowledge the boys who participated in our Blue and White Squad preseason training and the boys who have made the necessary sacrifices to attend training over the holiday break in order to improve and prepare for the up-and-coming GPS season. Your hard work and dedication is the foundation of what Nudgee basketball represents. To Mr. Scott and the first 5 boys, I've been enamored by your mateship, genuine love for the game of basketball, whether it's weight training or organizing pickup games for extra training, or even just hearing your conversations around the latest NBL or NBA highlights has been truly fulfilling to be a part. I sincerely believe the hard work you have put in this will pay off this season. And to all the support staff, teachers, in particular the old boys that come back to mentor and coach, we are very thankful for your dedication to serving the boys. Now I would like to introduce Dave Johnson to the stage. And with great pleasure, I would like to introduce our first 5 team captain, Joshua Clark.
Good morning, Mr. Johnston, parents, teachers, special guests, and my fellow Nudgee brothers. It is my great honor to stand before you today as your captain of the Nudgee basketball program. This season, our goals are to exemplify Nudgee spirit, showing participation, commitment, dedication to the blue and white, and great sportsmanship. Behind the scenes, work has been going on since late Term 1, when we commenced blue and white squad training, which progressed through the entirety of Term 2, encompassing early morning court and gym sessions. We have had 200 plus participants in the basketball skills camp during the holidays, and there were close to 400 boys playing basketball this term. Term 2 also saw a junior and senior WSL team take to the court every week, and the foundations being built there are tremendous for the Nudgee basketball program. I also need to recognize the people that make Nudgee basketball happen. We, as a team, would be nowhere without our coach, Mr. Scott, one of the most dedicated and knowledgeable coaches within the GPS system. Further, Mr. Massingale has worked tirelessly to put this season together as director of basketball and is the inspiration to the all boys taking to the court. To all the new and returning coaches, we appreciate you and your commitment to Nudgee basketball. To our parents, parent support group, referees and officials, thank you for making the 2021 season happen. We are very fortunate to have a great group of boys making up the first squad. This group is a hard-working and dedicated squad that pushes each and every one at training and demands quality from each and every player. In the short time this team has been together, I have personally witnessed personal growth, development of character, and increased basketball skills in every member of the team. I would also just like to give a mention to Nate Scott, who has recently undergone surgery and will be unable to play for the next 6 weeks. We look forward to seeing him return towards the latter half of the season. Without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to your 2020 first basketball team. Tyson Warren. Mladen Markovic. Joaquin Tulloch. Finn Carey. Mitchell Doyle. McKinley Baker. Jed Richardson. Harrison Vanderberg. Rory Dunn. And Mason Davis. My fellow Nudgee brothers, I urge you to come along to a Nudgee basketball game and witness for yourself the hard work this team has put in during the preseason and enjoy the spectacle of Nudgee basketball. We also wish chess and rugby the best for their season and urge you to support both of these teams as well.
Mr. Johnston, parents, staff, and Nudgee men. This season, we are once again blessed to have a number of our old boys, 45 in fact, involved as coaches in the rugby program. Ex-Reds player Scott Gale, current Rebels scrum half Bobby Tuttle are working with our halfbacks and goal kickers. Last year's captain Lastus coaches the 12Cs, and 2018 undefeated premiers Darcy and Henry coach the 13 A's and B's, just to name a few. I enjoy the post-training debriefs with these old boys, and listening to them sharing their Nudgee rugby memories. Something that has struck me is how often they share how much they miss playing for Nudgee. And this is what they miss. I miss that you play alongside guys you see almost every day who are your best mates. That doesn't happen anywhere else. I miss the spirit around the whole program. I miss the grandstand. I miss the culture and the support, no matter what age group or what team. It's about the jersey. I found there was more purpose and reason to play for Nudgee than for any other team I've played for since. When the blue and white jersey goes on, it's just different. Gentlemen, the rugby season is short, 9 weeks. You will miss your time in the jersey when it's over. Have no regrets. Listen to your coaches, train hard, and play every game as if it were your last. 770 boys will take the field in round 1 for Nudgee this Saturday. Pre-season form suggests we are well prepared and ready for the challenges that lie ahead. My hope for the season is simple. Everyone has fun, they improve, and they are respectful towards coaches, officials, their teammates, and the opposition. Many hours of hard work have already been done preparing our teams for round 1. For many, it started back in term 1. I'd like to thank our 90 coaches, age coordinators, and managers in the program for their involvement, dedication, and in particular, I'd like to thank Mr. Andrew Scottney, Mr. L.V. Prinsloo, Mr. Corey Braithwaite, Mr. Harrison Westbrook, and Mr. Charlie Dudley for their tireless work preparing the first 15 squad. And I invite head coach Mr. Scottney and headmaster Mr. David Johnson to the stage to present the round 1 team with their jerseys.
Mr. Johnson, staff, parents and boys, it gives me great pleasure this morning to present the 2021 First 15 rugby team. To get here, this group of boys, along with the other squad members, have shown a huge amount of self-motivation and discipline in their approach to the pre-season. This squad has great depth and there's been a high level of competition amongst them. The boys presented on stage have had to earn this jersey, and with over half this team being here at Nudgee since Year 7, there is a clear understanding of what the jersey means and the expectations that come with it. The trial period has taught the team plenty, and we look forward to doing the college proud every Saturday, starting with Brisbane State High this weekend. In order of position, I will now introduce the team. Prop, Macarius Pereira. Hooker, Wahoo Davy Phillips. Prop, Nadiana Winakiri. Lock and Vice Captain Daniel Mayava. Lock, Charlie Stack. Lock, Jack Harley. Flanker, Pat Dallimore. Flanker, Cooper Cameron. Number 8, Liam LeBlanc. Halfback, Willem Johnston. Fly half, Byron Smith. Wing, Rocco Drugas Gollings. Wing, Oscar Boyd. Wing, Robert Mappa. Centre, Robert Toyer. Fullback, Lewis de Villiers. Fullback, Tory Bath. Inside centre and captain, Tony Fuimaono.
Good morning, Mr. Johnson, staff, parents, invited guests, and my Nudgee brothers. It is with great honour and privilege to be named captain of the First 15 for 2021. The squad had been through a rigorous pre-season in preparation for the 2021 season, and we are ready to do the whole school community proud. I would like to thank Mr. Scottney, Mr. Graham, Elvie Prinsloo, and Harrison Westbrook for their time and effort to get us ready for the season. We would also like to thank everyone who has supported us and guided us over the years to get to this position where we are standing here today. That includes our parents and family, our classroom and pastoral teachers, our coaches from our younger years, and our medical staff for looking after us. But now we need the help of you, not just my Nudgee brothers, but also our beloved teachers and families. We need all of you there each and every Saturday, home or away, at 2:15 to help us get over the line. We need you to be the 16th man. The blue and white have not been the same since you were gone because of COVID-19. We need the Nudgee spirit to come back to the First 15, and it starts this Saturday, 2:15 at Furzon. Good luck to all rugby, basketball, and chess teams for the upcoming season.
I spent my whole life chained to the wall, hungry for more, not afraid to fall. Had to cut a man down to get where I am, but I broke through and here I stand. Don't try to fight, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. It's too late to try, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now. Most of my life was heavy and hard. So many days, so many scars. But it was all of those years to make who I am. Yeah, but I broke through, and here I stand. Don't try to fight, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. It's too late to try, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now. Yeah, I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now. I'm looking for
Well, welcome, gentlemen in the hall, staff and parents, and everyone watching us online. Term 3 is probably my favourite term. I'm looking forward to watching the rugby boys and the basketball boys and even the chess guys go around and represent us proud. As we start the term, I'm very conscious that of all terms, this is the term where we put ourselves on display to the community at large. People are watching us. With this in mind, I want to touch upon an incident that caused a stir involving a group of students from a large, prestigious boys' school in Melbourne a couple of years ago who were travelling by public transport to the equivalent of their GPS track and field. Whilst on the transport, the boys were engaging in a war cry. It was similar to the kinds of chants that we do every week in the grandstand, gentlemen. The difference was that the words of the chant were appalling. They were sexist and misogynistic. Despite a veneer of wit, the chant was revolting. As the boys engaged in the chant, a number of passengers got out their phones and filmed it. There was nowhere for the school to hide. Their uniform was distinctive, just like ours is. The words were crystal clear. The video went straight up on social media. It went viral. It made the mainstream news bulletins. The major papers all carried opinion pieces. It prompted questions about the culture of boys' schools like ours. It raised questions as to what you really learn in schools like ours. It gave the haters all the ammunition they could possibly need to condemn schools like ours. And it caused lots of people who are not haters, including me, to wonder, could that be our school? Could our boys do that? I don't doubt that the school in question has attempted to teach the boys to respect women. I don't doubt that any of the boys could have easily explained why their behaviour was wrong. I don't doubt that the school and the parents and the boys were deeply ashamed and are probably still hurting 2 years later. Rather than venturing into a diagnosis from the distance, there were 3 things that I noticed on the video that is worth reflection for us. 3 learnings. The first is the boys had forgotten that people were watching. I'm not sure how they forgot. They were on a crowded tram, but they forgot. They began to act as though no one else would see them. This was thoughtless and foolish in a world where every phone is a video camera and where every text comment can be captured in a screenshot. We have to assume, gentlemen, someone is always watching. We have to assume that someone will film it and it will be posted and then it will be made public. Any number of professional footballers know this is true. Think about the St George players a bit over a week ago, closely followed by the actions of Jai Arrow. These are good examples of how closely our actions are being monitored. Gentlemen, we have to realise that people are watching us. If we don't want to be ashamed, then we shouldn't do the shameful thing. The second thing that I noticed on the video that circulated is that you can't see the boys' faces. They are all facing inwards. They have turned their backs on the rest of the world. The only people in their line of sight are the other people like them. Their world has shrunk. Consequently, they have lost perspective and they have lost a point of reference that might have saved them. If they could have seen a staff member or even their parents, they wouldn't have done it. Authority helps us to self-correct. That's why police park their cars beside the road. If they could have seen their mum or their grandmother, they wouldn't have done it. Remembering who we are and the relationships that matter to us help us to self-regulate. None of us wants to let our loved ones down. Don't lose sight of the people whose opinions actually and deeply matter to you, gentlemen. The final thing that I noticed on the video was that the boys were led. The chant was led by an individual. One boy started it. He exercised leadership, Although I have no reason to think that he was a formal leader, I imagine that he would have been a popular, confident bloke amongst his peers. Standing there with the boys from his school, he led them. Gentlemen, he led them into shame, into disgrace, into the dark. He exercised leadership of the worst kind. And you know what I find the saddest thing of all? When this leader took them down this path, none of the boys told them to shut up. None of them shouted him down. None of them took a stand. It would not have been an easy job to do. I get that. It's not easy to stand apart from your peers when they're doing the wrong thing. It is not easy to face mockery and scorn. It is not easy to do, but it is possible. And imagine how different the story would have been if the video had recorded one boy taking a stand and attempting to turn the tide of misogynistic and sexist behaviour. I don't look at the situation with judgment of the school in question or the boys in question. Behaviour like this could be found in any school. It could happen with us. And if it does, I would be devastated and question and doubt the worth of what we're doing here, because we are not trying to do that. We are trying to generate a place where we develop good men, good Nudgee men. Boys, if you hear nothing else today, switch on and listen to these three things. Remember that people are watching all the time. You are being judged. Remember the people whose opinion matters to you. Make them proud of your actions. And finally, remember that leadership matters. Good leadership. Gentlemen, let's make this a great term. One to remember for all the right reasons. Have a good term, gents.
Thanks very much, Mr. Johnston. And on the back of that, gentlemen, there is so much to look forward to this term and this semester. We've had a very positive start, recognising our latest prefects, our first basketball and our first rugby teams. But there are opportunities and things to look forward to for each and every Nudgee man from year 5 to 12, with retreats and events and formals and subject selections. So on that note, I'd also like to acknowledge this week 21 new students started at Nudgee College. We certainly hope you've felt part of our community already and that you're enjoying your first few days as a Nudgee man. Gentlemen, my job this morning to finish up is to just go across a few key messages you need to be aware of over this week and the coming term. So just a quick notice about student formation tomorrow. Make sure you check the notices. There should be a slide coming up behind me soon, just to remind you of where you need to be tomorrow. I'm not going to read that out to you, but you will be across where you need to be. And moving on to that, we'll look at the key events for next week. We are in this format for semester, however, we will be back to going to, for assembly, but we'll be back to going to assembly on Tuesdays. And if we look at the week ahead, next week we have our round 2 GPS coming up shortly. And we also have, there it is, our academic assembly, which is a really important and special time for our community. We also have school photos, and on that, gentlemen, while it's really important to look sharp for your school photos, and there'll be a reminder in the next slide about some key things to remember, particularly for new people, our grooming and our uniform standards are not new, and they're not just for photos next week. Walking around as we've returned from holidays, it's been really wonderful to see boys putting their blazers on as they leave the college of the afternoon and keeping those standards high and generally doing the right thing. And sometimes we do need a reminder about our haircuts or the socks we're wearing or having our shirt tucked in. I can appreciate after 3 weeks or more of being at home and not at school, you probably don't wear a tie and blazer every day of your holidays. You probably don't have a haircut policy at home or in your family. But we're back at school and we do have one here. And it's pretty clear and it hasn't changed in a very long time. Gentlemen, it's accessible. There's hard copies in the student office. You can access the details online if you're genuinely not sure and you need to have a conversation with a PC tutor or a house dean. I need to be really clear with you. It's reasonable for a teacher, particularly your tutor or your house dean, to challenge you if there are concerns that you're not meeting our hair and grooming standards. And if you're challenged, I expect you to be respectful in that exchange and work with staff who are here to support you in doing that. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with people if they're genuinely not sure what to do, and I want to thank you, those of you who consistently get it right all the time, every day, and that's the vast majority of Nudgee gentlemen. And I also want to thank the gentlemen who've responded to teachers really easily this week and have worked with them to make the little changes that they needed to coming back from holidays. And on that, we've heard a little bit from Mr. Cannellan and certainly from Mr. Johnson this morning about our standards beyond the school gate. So our uniform and grooming policies go with us when we're at GPS events outside of the school gates and certainly on a Saturday. So what that means is when we're going to GPS sport, whether we're participating, supporting or doing both, we're in full school uniform, full formal uniform when we're supporting, and we're in our correct Nudgee sports kit. There is plenty of it. You do not need your Bunnings hoodie on Saturday if you're at a game. You don't need your slides and being half in uniform and half out. So let's make sure that when we're out and about in the community, we're meeting those standards. And finally, gentlemen, as we know, COVID and the consequences of that in our community is still something that impacts us now. In fact, we've currently got students who unfortunately can't get back due to border restrictions. So what that means for us is while as a state we follow the legislation and we have certain standards finishing tomorrow, we need to be always on guard and always making the correct practices a priority. We can't get complacent as a community, and I'm asking you boys to remind yourselves of the safe practices. It's not getting complacent, using hand sanitizer, washing our hands before and after we eat and when we go to the toilet, and when we have the opportunity to safely socially distant, we need to do that. And we need to be mindful and respectful of staff and other people who may not be under the same guidelines as you as a student community. So gentlemen, after all those very important messages, we're almost at the end of assembly, but it is my absolute pleasure to call upon Oscar Boyd, who's going to lead us in 3 cheers.
Nudgee! 3 cheers for the Mid Year Prefects, 3 cheers for the new staff. Boys, get around and say hi. 3 cheers. Get down to state hi a bit.
Thanks very much, Oscar. Well done. And because we are sticking to COVID rules where we can't technically sing or dance, we won't actually finish with the college song today. So that concludes our assembly. Yep. But before, gentlemen, you move here in the Christian Brothers Conference Centre, I invite our parents and guests, you are welcome to leave now before we send the boys out. Thank you. I remember that.